Are you there? Is there anyone there? I really hope there is someone there. Oh, there you are. Hi everybody, here we go. It is Sunday. Yes, we are all together again, live on YouTube. I hope you've had a good week. My week has been all right, not too bad. Thank you very much. Oh yes, definitely. I am late again, for which I apologise. Welcome. Here we go. It is English Addict live from the birthplace of English, which just happens to be England. Oh, hi everybody. This is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I really hope you are happy today. It is, once more, another one of those live streams across the internet. I know what you're going to say. Mr. Duncan, everyone at the moment has their own live stream. I think almost every person on the planet at the moment has their own live stream. So I would imagine that many people at the moment are not watching me because they are doing their own live stream. So can I say hello to the other live streams? So all of the other people that are doing live streams at the moment, hello to you. I hope your live stream is going well. I'm losing my voice again. I think I might have to have a lie down in a dark room for maybe 1 week to recover from all of this because I've been so busy. Hello, for those who are wondering who I am, who is that weird man on my screen? My name is Duncan and I teach English here on YouTube, and I've been doing this for such a long time. Some might say that I've been doing it for too long. Mr. Duncan, please go away. Can you please stop what it is you are doing? Please clear off. Go away. Skedaddle. No, I'm staying here. I'm not going anywhere, and I hope you will be staying here with me as well. A very strange day, I must say. The weather is nice today. However, I didn't get out of bed until very late. Unfortunately, I got up very late today. I don't know why. I was feeling sleepy and quite tired this morning. So that's the reason why. Also, I don't know why, but inside my studio is so hot. I almost can't stand it. It is really hot in here. I don't know why. For those wondering where Mr. Steve is, yes, Mr. Steve is on his way. He will be here a little bit later on. I just want to make sure that we can have the live chat. I can't see the live chat at the moment. Where is the live chat? I hope it is there. Oh, there you are. Thank you very much for joining me here on my live stream. And yes, we have made it all the way to the end of the week. It is the end of the weekend as well, because it's Sunday. It's a Sunday, it's a Sunday. Welcome everyone. I hope you are feeling good today. Mr. Steve, once again, is very busy outside. He's in the garden. I don't know what he's doing, but I hope he will be here in around about 10 minutes' time, because he will be with us live, but not here with me. No, don't worry. For those who are concerned, don't worry. Mr. Steve will be in isolation. He will be next door, actually. So there is Mr. Steve's seat. Well, that is the place where Mr. Steve will be in a few moments. So for those who are wondering where Steve is, don't worry. He will be with us in around about 10 minutes. I suppose it depends on whether or not Mr. Steve has finished his chores in the garden. I wonder if Steve will be finishing his jobs in the garden. I don't know. I hope he does. I hope he will be here soon. So here we are. Oh my goodness, I've just realised I'm live on YouTube. Hello there. Hello FC, and also everyone else on the live chat. Now there is something very interesting, because when I start my live stream on my computer, the first person on the live chat is different from the one on my mobile phone, and that is very confusing. So I want to say that FC is first on the live chat, but actually I don't think you are. In fact, I think it was someone else. I'm sure it was Aziz. I think Aziz. Hello Aziz. I think you were first on today's live stream, so congratulations to you. Congratulations. Well done. You are the first one, I think. Maybe on today's live stream. It's been a strange week. Yes, it looks as if we are going to be doing this for a very long time. I might be with you every day forever. I'm not sure if I like that. How do you feel about that? Do you think it's a good idea? Should I be here every day forever? I'm not sure if I like the idea of that. Today we are talking about two words. We will be looking at the word lazy later on. Are you a lazy person? Are you a person who can be a little lazy sometimes? I am often accused of being lazy. I'm often accused of being a person who doesn't work very much. I don't know why though. I'm always busy. I'm always doing something. I can't believe that. I can't believe I get accused of such a horrible thing. And also we'll be talking about being bored. And this is a certain word that a lot of people are using at the moment. They are saying, I am bored. I feel bored. I am bored because of the lockdown, or this very strange situation that we are going through at the moment around the world. So those are two of the things we are looking at today. Of course, we have Mr. Steve here. I don't know what he's going to talk about. I hope he has something interesting. The one thing I do know, Steve has been very busy in the kitchen again. And I think today he is going to show us what he has been making. So Steve has been making something sweet, I think so. So I'm very excited about that, as you can probably imagine. The weather outside is lovely at the moment. In fact, you might see Mr. Steve going past the camera, because he was outside in the garden a few moments ago, but I think he's come in now. I think Steve has realised that it's time to come in, because he will be on in a few minutes. So the weather is nice, the sun is shining. However, we are inside the studio again. Some people say, Mr. Duncan, we like it when you are outside. It's much more fun because we can hear the birds. In fact, sometimes I think you prefer listening to the birds more than you enjoy listening to me. Maybe. Hello, Anna. Hello, Connell. Mr. Duncan, your microphone is low. We can hardly hear you. I think you should be able to hear me all right. Is it really quiet? I don't know why. I hope you can hear me clearly. Shall I start shouting out of the window? Maybe you can hear me then. So I hope you can hear me all right. If you can't hear me, then I'm in big, big trouble. No, I think you can hear me. I'm pretty sure of it, because all of my lights are flashing in front of me. So I think you can hear me. Maybe it's you. Maybe you need to turn your computer or your phone up slightly. Hello, Anna. Hello, Husna. When the break will begin because I want to grab some sweets. Oh, I see. Husna wants to know when the break will occur. Well, I suppose you can have a break whenever you want. You don't have to stay here. If you want to have something to eat, if you want to have a drink, which reminds me, I haven't got any water. I have no water in front of me. Can you believe that? Already things are going wrong. I've only been on for a few minutes. And I was late as well. I can't believe it. Hello, Vitas. Normal is the usual, average or typical state or condition. Yes, we talked about that yesterday. Am I doing yesterday's live stream? Is this Saturday? Is it? I hope it's Sunday. Is it really Sunday? Or did I go back in time to yesterday and this is Saturday still? I don't know. What a strange period of time this is. Am I the only one who feels as if I'm slightly losing touch with reality during this time? Because every day feels exactly the same. So sometimes I wake up in the morning and I have no clue what time it is. I think, what time is it? What day is it? What year is it? Who am I? And other things like that. Oh, hello, Mika. Am I watching yesterday's live stream? There is something really weird going on here. Am I going out loud at the moment? Live? Oh, I see. I am. I'm watching yesterday's live stream on my phone. Now that is very weird. I've just realised what I'm doing. I'm actually watching yesterday's live stream on my mobile phone, and you are leaving messages on today's live stream. That is so embarrassing. What's wrong with me? I think I might be losing my mind live on YouTube. So let me just put this right. Where is my live stream? Where is it? I can't find it. I can't find my live stream. Am I really going out? Hello? Anyone there? Oh, dearie me. This is very weird. There are some really weird things going on at the moment. Oh, there it is. Now I can find my live stream. And because I'm confused by it, that is yesterday's live stream. So is this today's live stream or yesterday's live stream? What is going on? Am I still asleep in bed? Am I dreaming this? Am I looking at my live stream or is this recorded? I don't know what's going on anymore. Okay, I think I'm looking at my live stream now. What a strange period of time. It really is. For those who don't know what I was doing, I was actually looking at my mobile phone and I thought I was watching today's live stream as it goes out. Unfortunately, I was watching yesterday's live stream and I was reading the live chat from yesterday. And I thought that was today. I think I might just go back to bed. I've had enough of this. To be honest. Hello to the live chat, and I think this might be the real live chat now. Is this the real live chat I'm looking at now, or is it yesterday? Or is it last year? I don't know. It's very strange. Am I the only person who feels like this at the moment? Hello to Hiroko. Hello, Lewis. Hello to Anna. That might be the strangest thing that's ever happened to me on my live stream, ever. And that's even working with Mr. Steve, because Mr. Steve sometimes does some very strange things on the live stream. I think the problem is the thumbnail has not been updated. So I've just realised the thumbnail on this live stream is yesterday's thumbnail. I am so confused by this. It is very weird. Hello, Anna. Mr. Duncan, please can you say hello to my husband, Jefferson? It is the first time he is watching you. Well, all I can say is you are not seeing me at my best today. Can I just say that? You are not seeing me at my best. For some reason, I don't know why, I was watching yesterday's live stream and I thought I was watching this live stream. Because there are so many people doing live streams at the moment. Every celebrity has their own live stream. Have you noticed? Tom Hanks has his own live stream. Robert Downey Jr., he has his own live stream. Lady Gaga has her own live stream. Caitlyn Jenner has a live stream. Mr. Duncan, well, I don't know what Mr. Duncan has. I don't know what this is. Bizarre. What a bizarre moment of time. Hello, Eleanor. Are you still asleep, Mr. Duncan? I feel as if I might be still asleep in bed. This might be just a horrible nightmare that I'm experiencing at the moment. Let's all just say hello again to Mr. Duncan. Unicorina, hello to you. I think you are here now. I might still be in bed, and this might just be a terrible dream. 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 Oh. No, it's not a terrible dream. This is really happening. I can't believe it. This is so funny, says Monte. Monte, thank you, Monte, for finding this very funny, because for a moment I had no idea what was going on. And all I can say, things are going to get worse, because Mr. Steve will be here soon, and then it will get really crazy. Trust me. Hello to Palmyra, I think. Hello, TS. Hello, TS. You are watching a YouTube English teacher have a meltdown live on the internet. Hello, Konstantin. Hello, Anna Pika. I couldn't find your live stream. You're not the only one. I couldn't find it either. I couldn't find my own live stream. And I started watching the one from yesterday, and I thought that was the live stream that was going out now. That's it. I think I've had too much. I've had too much isolation. I have finally cracked. My brain has finally melted inside my skull. Fatima, you are so funny. I love you. Mr. D, you made me laugh. You made me laugh after a period of sorrow. Well, I'm glad I've cheered you up, even though I've made myself look like a complete idiot. Again. Francesca, you are going slightly mad. I think so. I feel like that Queen song. I'm going slightly mad. I'm going slightly mad. I think so. I think you are right. Vitas. Yesterday we talked a little bit about old songs and nostalgia. Has it rolled to our souls? I don't know. We were talking about music yesterday. We were talking about music from the 60s because someone mentioned Creedence Clearwater Revival. And I was talking about the 1960s when everyone was talking about peace and love and everyone was experimenting. No. Lots of hippies were around in the 1960s and also the early 1970s as well. I remember when I was young, there were people who were still living in the 1960s, even though it was the 1970s. They were still being very, hey man, hey, far out. No, we're not doing that anymore. It's the 1970s. Hello, Wilson. A little mistake, Mr. Duncan. I know. I think it was a big mistake, to be honest. I can't believe I did that. That might be the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me on YouTube. Ever. Talking of embarrassing things that leave you feeling very shamed and upset. In isolation at the moment. He is in isolation. I just have to make sure that he is the recommended distance from me. Are you eating? I've just realised. Mr. Steve is eating. I can't believe it. Oh my goodness. Look, what are you doing, Steve?
Am I on?
What?
Am I live, Mr. Duncan?
Yes, you're live.
Oh, I didn't know. You didn't tell me. You normally give me a countdown and say, here is Mr. Steve.
Well, there you are.
Well, I can't tell. So I'm actually on now, am I, Mr. Duncan?
Yes.
Well, hello everyone. I'm eating my salad.
Yes. Look at the screen in front of you.
Well, I can see it now. Yes, it's just come on, but it wasn't on before. It was just showing you, Mr. Duncan.
Can I just say, Steve, I've done something really embarrassing today.
You forgot to put your clothes on before coming on live.
That wouldn't be just embarrassing. That would be outrageous.
You forgot to put the sound up?
No, even though I do that a lot of times.
You forgot to put the camera on?
No, everything was all right. Technically, everything was working all right, except for one thing. I started my mobile phone so I could look at the live chat. Unfortunately, I clicked on yesterday's live stream, and I was actually replying to the live chat from yesterday as if it was today's live stream.
You've never done that before, Mr. Duncan.
And the worst thing is, no, it gets worse than that. I could see myself as well being played back, not realising that I was using yesterday's live stream as the monitor for the live chat, even though I was watching yesterday's live stream.
Let me guess, you were rushing. You were late, as usual. Mr. Duncan always leaves everything to the last minute. I can reveal this. Mr. Duncan likes the pressure of working, doing everything at the last minute. So he's rushing around. He's sometimes a few minutes late, as you well know. And you were rushing and just clicked on something at random.
Yes.
And there you go. And and as a result, I am eating my salad.
Oh, can you show it to us?
Prepared myself a healthy salad, which I thought I would have had time to eat before you gave me a countdown. Because you normally say, and any minute now, Mr. and you normally put something on beforehand. You normally give me a warning that I'm going to be live, but not today. So,
Steve, what are you eating? Let's have a look.
I'm eating what I think is a healthy salad. Okay. There we go. Can you see that?
It looks like someone's thrown up.
I've been eating this every day this week because this is what I'm trying to eat more healthily. Now that we're in lockdown, and I realise that I don't have enough green food, salads, raw foods in my diet. So here's a little salad I prepared myself. We have beetroot. Beetroot with its very sort of purpley red juice.
I don't like beetroot.
So that's cooked beetroot, which I've sliced up. Then we have tomatoes, and that white stuff is salad cream that I put on there to give it a bit of flavour.
Okay.
So that's a tomato, and this is a cut up avocado. Avocados, because I noticed I went to the local shop a couple of weeks ago looking for vegetables, and the shelves were empty. The only thing they'd got left was avocados, so I bought them, and I used to eat them years ago because I quite like the taste of them. But the only problem with avocados is when you buy them, it always says on the, I'll put this down, shall I, and I'll eat it when you play a video.
Yes.
trouble with avocados is it's like pears. You buy the packet and it says perfectly ripe on the packet, or words to that effect. So you think you're getting a perfectly ripe fruit, and then you get it home and cut it open and it's still raw. In other words, you should leave it to ripen. So I've bought quite a few of these recently, and they've been rock hard. And I've been most annoyed, Mr. Duncan, because I like my fruit to be ripe, as do we all.
Okay.
So I was out in the garden before coming on live. I got carried away, as I do, rushed in, got changed, and prepared my salad, and thought I would have at least 5 or 10 minutes to eat it. Sat down here, and you've just put me on live.
Haven't you already explained this?
I've also got a little fruits, a snack bar to eat as well afterwards.
This is fascinating.
I know. I think it is. It's fascinating because it's all about me, Mr. Duncan.
Now, before we go any further, Steve, we have to make sure that we are a safe distance away from each other. So I have my tape measure here. So I'm going to move my tape measure, and I'm going to make sure that we are a safe distance away from each other. So there it is. You can see I have my tape measure. So you might see the tape measure coming, Steve.
Okay. I shall look out for the tape measure. Let me fetch it, Mr. Duncan. Just to prove that we...
There we go. Just to make sure that you know that we are a safe distance away. So we are...
Yes.
Let me just see how far away we are from each other. We are 144 inches away.
Inches? Give that in centimetres, because a lot of people watching won't be using inches. They'll be using centimetres.
I knew you were going to say that. Oh, keep it still, Steve.
I am. I'm keeping it perfectly still.
Yes, you always have trouble with your end. It is 366 centimetres.
That sounds about right. So we're just over 3.5 metres apart from each other.
So we are a very long way from each other. So for those who are worried, that we are not a safe distance away from each other, you can see Mr. Steve has the end in his hand.
If I let this go, Mr. Duncan, it'll fly back.
Please don't let that tape measure go.
Well, shall I let it go, viewers?
I think it might slice my head off.
It's not got a very strong spring in it, this tape measure. So, I can't stay here with it for the entire live stream.
Okay, don't you shout.
There we go.
Okay, let go then, Steve.
I've let go of the end. Oh, you don't normally like those sort of noises on your live stream.
It's okay. I've just severed 4 of my fingers. Have now been cut off. Okay, there we go. It's back.
I would think that most people watching will be using centimetres, not inches.
Yes. So we can now verify, we can say officially that we are definitely a safe distance away from each other. So for those who are wondering, now we know. Tape. Yes, this is a tape. Tape. So we can call this a tape measure. Tape measure. So you use this for measuring things. And as you just saw, we were measuring the distance between us just to make sure that we were safely keeping our distance from each other. The other thing I've been doing this morning, I've been looking out of the window because our house is very high up. So I've been watching this morning just to make sure that everyone around the area in which we live is also keeping their distance. So I've been looking out the window, watching very closely with my binoculars.
Good idea, Mr. Duncan.
I've been making sure that people have been keeping their safe distance and they haven't been getting too close to each other. So I've been looking today. I've had my binoculars in my hand like this, and I've been very careful, very, very careful to make sure that they realise that I'm watching them. I'm watching everything you are doing.
And we can dob in the neighbours, dob them in. Dob them in. That means that you can report them.
Yes.
Report them to the authorities.
Yes.
If we see groups of people arriving, I don't think we would do that because that would be snitching. Nobody wants to be a snitch.
Okay.
somebody who reports on somebody else in a sort of a mean-spirited way.
A mean-spirited way?
Yes. I mean, if they want to have lots of... They haven't, but they haven't had lots of people round. In fact, they haven't had anybody round. Anybody that has arrived has stayed at a safe distance. But I saw, while I was in the garden, Mr. Duncan, I heard a car coming up towards our house.
Oh, yeah.
And is often the case here. They went the wrong way. They came up the wrong road.
They got lost.
And had to turn round. But that car was full of people. There must have been 5 people in this car, including, I saw an elderly lady, a young child, and other people. And I just thought to myself, well, unless they're living together, that sounds to me like they're a family visiting some people in the area, which is strictly not the thing you're supposed to be doing.
I'm pretty sure that is the case, because clearly they don't know the area because they got lost. So they were visiting someone, and they shouldn't be visiting anyone. We are all in lockdown at the moment, don't they realise?
And they had, which was obviously Granny in the back seat with a young child who looked about 6.
Granny.
And maybe, I can't think who was driving, looked like a young man, only probably the son or the daughter.
Okay.
Something like that. So, yes, illegally. Well, when I say illegal, it's not illegal.
Well, it is.
But, yes. Well, I should have got the registration and reported them.
Yes.
Well, spreading their viruses from probably some city somewhere to our area.
Yes. But the thing is, people are not allowed to actually move around unless they have a very, very good reason. Maybe you have to go to the shops because you have no sausages left and you need a sausage. So you might want a sausage for your supper and you have no sausages. So what you have to do, you have to get into your car, you have to drive to town, you have to go to the local butcher shop and you will buy a sausage. So you will have a sausage for your tea.
Adwar is watching from Manchester.
Oh, okay.
We've got somebody watching from the UK.
Manchester.
So hello.
Manchester.
People are saying I look very smart with all those books behind me. Let me tell you, these are not books.
No.
These are CDs.
They're not even CDs.
No, they're DVDs.
Yes, that's it. Steve's just working his way through all of the formats that exist.
Yes, so these are anything but.
Oh, take that one out again.
Oh, not mind your language. I'm not taking that one out. You always talk about mind your language.
Steve, we have a lot of mind your language fans.
Really?
Yes.
You mean that one?
Yes. Mind your language.
Really? It's very old. I never liked it personally.
No. But then your family wouldn't let you watch ITV.
They wouldn't let us watch commercial channels, no.
Because they thought it was lowbrow. It was TV for nitwits.
Because in the UK, when I was growing up, we only really had the BBC. And then when I was quite young, they introduced, the BBC has no advertising on it.
No.
And then I don't know when commercial channels came into being, but it was probably, I don't know, late 60s, maybe early 70s, I don't know.
I think it was towards the end of the 1960s they actually had commercial television. It came in, the BBC was first.
Yes.
And then there was the second channel of the BBC. And I think around about the same time, in fact, I have a feeling that commercial television has been around for quite a while here in the UK. I think maybe the early 1960s. I might be wrong, but I know in the very early days of television, when everything was in black and white. Yes, can you believe it? TV used to be in black and white. How boring.
Oh, it was all right. I mean, you didn't know any different then.
Yes.
So there was a lot of snobbery. You know, commercial channels. Oh, no, it's the BBC for me.
Yeah, that was your father.
Probably.
Yeah.
So, yes, if you watched ITV, which was a commercial channel, then, you know, you were looked upon in certain social circles as being a bit lowbrow.
Yes. Scumbag.
BBC or nothing. Adverts.
Okay, we get it, Steve. We get it. We get it. We understand what commercial television is. As I always say, we're learning English here. We're not. We haven't got special learning difficulties. It's just learning English. Okay.
Happy Easter, says Mirella.
Happy Easter, everyone. Yes, for the Orthodox, in the Orthodox Christian religion, and I believe that is people watching in Russia, and other parts of the world. It is Easter Sunday today. So I almost feel as if I should be eating another Easter egg, Steve.
Well, maybe we could. Well, I did make some chocolate treats.
Yes. Well, before you say anything, I was about to say, Mr. Steve, I believe you were making something in the kitchen yesterday.
Yes, I was.
Do you have it there with you?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I can go and fetch it when we have a little break.
Have you actually prepared anything?
No, because I don't prepare anything anymore. That was our arrangement, Mr. Duncan. I'm just the sort of sidekick. I just react to what's happening.
You certainly do.
I haven't got time to prepare things when I've got the garden to look after, Mr. Duncan. Surely you know that.
The garden. Your garden.
One of us has to look after the garden. I'm thinking of charging people to come and look at it after I've finished.
Looking at the garden?
Yes, I think I'll put a sign up.
You're going to charge people to come and look at it?
Yes, I think I'll have an open day.
Just let me finish the sentence.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to charge people to come and look at the garden. That's arrogant.
Yes, well, I've got a nice garden. Why not? What do you think, 50 pence?
That is so arrogant.
Well, you know.
Maybe
it looks nice. People have often said, why don't you open your garden? But it is a very arrogant thing to do.
It is.
People do that around here.
Yes. Well, not around here.
Somebody did a few years ago.
In the centre of Much Wenlock, there is someone, and they do have a very nice garden. It's actually been featured in the newspapers.
Somebody said here that we look sleepy and tired. I beg your pardon. I'm full of energy today. I've been in the garden.
Yes, you certainly are full of it.
I look sleepy and tired, really. Well, maybe we are. Well, Mr. Duncan, of course, has been doing... In fact, I warned him the other day. He's been doing a live stream every day for the last... since the lockdown. So it's over 4 weeks.
I did have a slight breakdown today. Something went seriously wrong. Everything looks wrong on my live stream. I have yesterday's thumbnail, which has yesterday's date on it. And I watched yesterday's live stream thinking that I was watching the live stream that is going out now. So I think that's it. I think I've had it. I think it's time for me to go into a very dark room, lie down on the bed and have a really long sleep, because that's it. I think doing these live streams every day has completely broken my brain.
For 2 hours for 4 weeks. Well, it'll be 5 weeks on Tuesday. So I think you need a day off, Mr. Duncan. You need a little break, because nobody can sustain that amount of work day after day. The pressure of performing, of teaching. I mean, most people work 5 or 6 days and have a day off.
Yes.
So I think you should take a day off.
And you know the worst thing, I do all this for free. I don't even ask for any money to be paid for this lesson. Of course, I always welcome donations, which is a different thing. However, everything I do, all of my lessons for the past 14 years, I've been here on YouTube doing this, and I've done it for free for all of those years. So, yes, you might have a good point there, Steve. Maybe I should go private on here and then just charge everyone to watch my lessons and my live streams.
I've never heard you say something so radical.
Shall I do that? I'm going now, everyone. Bye. I'm going private and you have to pay to watch me. No. I would never do that.
Suzika says, have you any aches after doing the gardening? Well, yes, I do, because I was doing it quite intensely.
Intense.
So I was not taking any breaks. I was determined to get this done, and doing lots of lifting and digging. So yes, I've got a bit of an aching back. I'll tell you what aches the most. It's my fingers and my thumbs through gripping things. So I've tried to get the lid off a jam jar this morning. Oh, and it was painful.
Oh.
It was aching, and my forearms are aching.
Oh.
But this joint here and this muscle is aching.
Oh.
So that's why I'm eating these salads. I'm looking at this salad here, and I'm salivating.
Okay.
Salivating. That means that I've got juices flowing in my mouth.
Okay.
Because I want to... well, I'm just explaining. This is an English channel.
There's no answer to that.
Mr. Duncan. All I can... I'm just looking at that. Normally, I would look at a salad and think, no, I don't want to eat that.
Yes.
But I'm looking at this and thinking, I would like to finish it because I think it's very healthy.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll have a short break, shall we?
Okay.
Hello, Steve.
You mean a week?
We are having a short break for a few moments. We're going to have a look at one of my full English lessons, and this is an excerpt from Full English number 16. And then we will be back with Mr. Steve and me and you live on YouTube. Can you see what I'm wearing over there? These are overalls. We normally refer to them as a pair or set. An overall is an item of clothing that is worn so as to protect a person's body and clothing from damage caused by such things as paint or grease. Some overalls are designed to cover the entire body, while others only protect certain parts. In general, overalls are designed to cover and protect you. They are very easy to put on and take off. Some overalls have lots of pockets on them so as to allow you to safely carry things around with you. The material used to make overalls can be thin and lightweight or very thick and heavy. The thicker overalls offer better protection from things like grease and oil, and can prevent skin damage caused by a knock or fall. You can wear lots of clothing under your overalls so as to keep you warm, or if it's a hot day, you can be completely naked under them and wear nothing at all. These overalls are so comfortable. I wish I could wear them all the time. Don't you just hate it when things go wrong? When something you are trying to do goes to pieces? When a project you have been planning for a long time goes awry? To go awry refers to a situation or event that goes off course. The thing you expected to happen did not. It went awry. Something that is not straight or appears crooked can also be described as being awry. The poet Robert Burns once wrote that the best laid schemes of mice and men often go awry, which means however much work and preparation you put into something, there is always the possibility that something will crop up or come along to jeopardize your plans. The problem in question can come from an outside source or through a mistake of your own. Just one false move on your part can damage or destroy what you are doing. It would be fair to say that the more complex the thing you are doing, the higher the chances are that something will go wrong. A problem or difficulty can be described as adversity. This word names anything that is seen as a setback or problem, an obstacle that has to be overcome, or a problem that causes disruption and delay is an adversity. An adverse occurrence is adversity. When there is a problem, we can say that there is a catch, glitch, hiccup, hold up, hitch, hindrance, hurdle, setback, snag. There is something wrong. Something has gone wrong. It's all gone pear-shaped. It's all gone to pot. It's all gone a bit wrong. Hello. Are we still there? Yes, I think we are. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my live stream on YouTube. My lovely little bird. Do you like my little bird? I received this bird yesterday. Through the post it came, and I found out who sent it. So can I say thank you very much? You know who you are. Thank you. And it is very nice to receive your little gift. Isn't that lovely? Very surprised. So it's live English, English Addict. It's Mr. Duncan. That's me, by the way. And also, in the next room, in isolation, where he belongs, away from the rest of the general public. Oh, dear. It's Mr. Steve.
Oh, hello. I think I've done something wrong, Mr. Duncan. I think I'm having a bit of a problem with the live stream today because I've got somebody else playing at the moment. Oh, no, I think it's you again because there's a slight delay in what I see here, isn't there?
There is.
So I think we're back on track. Somebody asked, I noticed, I can't get the live stream up though, so I don't have the live chat up anymore, Mr. Duncan. You'll have to come and fix it. Somebody asked, what is a stiff upper lip? Earlier, I picked that up before we had that little break. And I've eaten my salad, and I've eaten this nice little baked cocoa and almond fruit bar.
Wait there.
Which is it's got oats in it. It's like an oats. It's a bit like a flapjack, but it's not a homemade one. It's a bought one.
That's what's the problem?
I can't get the live stream on, Mr. Duncan.
Let's have a look.
Oh, stay away. 3 meters.
Don't sneeze or cough. Okay.
So, what is a stiff upper lip? Well, that is an expression often used to describe British people or English people when we are not displaying emotions. So when something happens, some important event, an upsetting event, British people typically don't react in an emotional manner, whereas some people in other countries tend to show their emotions. I'm trying to explain something, Mr. Duncan.
Okay.
You go back into your studio. Quite often, depending on your culture, some people will display emotions in public. Some cultures more than others. Now, traditionally, British people don't display their emotions or show their emotions in public. So the expression stiff upper lip is used to describe a British person who there could be chaos occurring around them. There could be all sorts of awful things happening, but we will not react in any way, shape or form. Our lip will remain the same. It will remain stiff and unemotional. So that was the typical sort of thing that people would use to describe British people many years ago. I think now British people are a lot more emotional and show more of their emotions in public, but that impression has stayed over the years.
Can I just say something, Steve, though? Because at the moment, there is something happening with a thing called... So that's happening at the moment.
Yes.
And a lot of people here in the UK are saying that they are keeping a stiff upper lip.
Are they?
Well, yes. And they are saying that, yes, we are trying to be as strong as we can. So there are people who are saying we have to be resilient. I like that one.
Resilient. Stoic.
Resilient.
Stoic. So
you have a stiff upper lip. You stay stoic. To be stoic, to face your problems bravely. You keep calm. And don't forget, you have to keep calm. And what else do we have to do, Steve? Keep calm and...
Carry on.
Keep calm and wash your hands. Keep calm and wash your hands.
So we're all doing that, and we all know that because we're washing our hands a lot more because our skin has become very dry and cracked. I don't know about yours, Mr. Duncan, but I'm having to apply a lot of hand cream.
Okay.
Otherwise, because my skin feels very dry and cracked because of all the soap that I've been applying to try and kill off those nasty little viruses.
Yes, we've had a wonderful donation from Mr. Bruno. Hello, Mr. Bruno. Thank you very much for your donation. And Mr. Bruno says, why don't you offer some special lessons in private rooms where the users can pay for it to participate? They could be carried out in different levels and appeal to a particular target audience. One of the problems with that, and I suppose it goes back to my original remit, so the thing that I aim to do by doing this is I want everyone to have a chance. So if I start saying only people who can pay can actually have some sort of lesson from me, then I will be pushing lots of other people away. And that's always been my remit, to be honest. I know it seems as if I could be probably giving private lessons more and more, but if I did that, then I would be doing this less and less. So you would be seeing less of me here doing this for free because I would be busy doing the other thing and getting paid for it privately. So if I had a choice between those two things, I would always choose to do this openly to as many people as possible because I realise my audience, many people, not all of my viewers, but many people cannot afford to have private lessons. So that's the reason why I choose to do it like this. I know there are many people on YouTube, many English teachers who use this type of live stream or maybe video to promote their own job or their own business where they do give private lessons for money. However, I want to do it differently, and it's always been my intention to do this for everyone for free so everyone gets a chance. You might not like what I do, but there are many people who do like it. So I always try my best to do everything without a charge, without any payment being needed. So everyone gets a chance because I realise from my own experience, travelling the world and teaching abroad, there are many people who are very hungry to learn English, but they can't afford to have private lessons or private tuition. So that is the reason why I do this. But I do thank you all the same, Mr. Bruno. Thank you for your donation. So I have donations coming in regularly from some of my friends on Patreon and also through PayPal as well. But I always try to give as many people a chance or a chance to actually watch my videos. And that's the reason why they have always been free. And to be honest with you, they always will be. They always will be free. This will always be available to everyone. I will never disappear, or I will never do things that are aimed at certain people who can pay, because then I would be pushing many other people out. Because I only have so much time in my day. Would you say that that's true, Steve?
Yes, but you waste most of it, don't you, Mr. Duncan?
You've just undone everything I've just said.
Yes. I won't comment on that, but I will comment on Palmyra has said she likes the colour of my top that I'm wearing.
That's a nice T-shirt.
Yes. And so she's asked, what colour would you describe that as? It's like a wine colour, isn't it?
Yes. I would say it's like claret.
Claret. Claret. There's a good claret colour.
Thank
it's
you.
like the colour of a nice red wine. Mm-hmm. Or very dark red. But claret. I think you are correct, Mr. Duncan.
Yes. Claret
yes.
and blue.
And with a touch of blue.
Yes.
So do you want me to show these little biscuits I made?
Mr. Steve has been very busy in the kitchen. I didn't know this. I don't know how he did it. But yesterday, Steve cooked. He made these beautiful, sweet, I think they're biscuits or cakes. How would you describe them? Cakes or biscuits?
They're neither, really.
Okay.
More of a sort of a biscuity thing, I would describe them as.
Yes.
But yes, somebody gave me this recipe a few years ago.
Don't say what it is.
Okay.
Don't say what it is. We'll have a big reveal, even though I've already shown them on camera earlier. Quickly, I did show them. But I didn't know you were doing this. I don't know how you managed to do this in secret without me realising you were in the kitchen making these things.
I was doing it in plain sight.
Yes. I didn't even notice. So Steve last night surprised me with something. He had something very interesting in his hand. And he said, Duncan, would you like to have a look at this? And I said, oh dear, I don't know about that. But then he said, no, it's something nice. It is something nice that you might want to put in your mouth. I thought, oh, okay. It might be food.
Are British people introvert? Says Anna.
Who said that?
Anna has asked the question, are British people introvert? Well, no, not really. British people traditionally don't tend to show their emotions in public.
Traditionally?
Yes. I mean, if you were to typecast a British person, then you would say, on average, people don't tend to show their emotions in public.
Yes.
British people don't tend to, but that's not the same as being introvert.
No.
It's about what you do in public.
Yes.
As opposed to what you do privately.
The word I was going to use, Steve, is reserved.
Reserved, yes.
Yes. I think British people, especially the English, are a little more reserved. So quite often we won't give too much away about our emotions. We might be a little bit secretive. Not necessarily introverted. We will still go out in public, but we will wear a sort of mask, maybe.
Yes, it's all about. I think trying to appear like you're coping with everything. That doesn't matter what's happening. You just sort of breezing through it. So it's a bit of a mask, really, as you say. But then in again, it's a way of coping, I think, as well, because I think if you always fall about when something bad happens, then that might not be the best approach. It's just something that's grown up from the 1800s onwards,
okay.
Whereby British, I think it was all to do with having to appear to be in charge and confident, and I think it all stems from this sort of aristocracy and the leaders from many years ago, and everybody copies them, and royalty. It's everything's, we're fine, we're coping with it all, even though things might be going horrendously wrong. Mm-hmm. It's just a sort of an act, really. And I think that probably still is pretty much the case with most people. But yes. Some people might disagree with me there.
Yes, I think one of the things to mention is also there was a period, certainly I would pinpoint maybe a period during the Victorian era when suddenly people became very self-aware and suddenly there was a certain prudishness. So if a person is prudish, it means they are easily offended. They don't like to talk about things that might upset them, such as bodily functions. So things like that became something that was taboo. You couldn't talk about it. So I think that's one of the reasons why British people or English people became very reserved in their manners, because we were all suddenly made to feel embarrassed by ourselves, and that kind of stuck with us. So I think nowadays it might be fair to say that British people, English people, I'm talking really about English people, so people that live in England, are a little more reserved. They don't give too much away. Or, of course, they might have a mask or a fake appearance. They try to keep up appearances, which reminds me of a great TV show called Keeping Up Appearances. And there was a lady who always tried to impress her neighbours and her friends. So she always tried to keep this mask in place. But quite often things went wrong and things went disastrously wrong for her. And that was why it was funny. So yes, I think it is. But then you might say the same thing about all human beings, Steve.
I think it's a cultural thing.
Yes.
I think it's a cultural thing. The big surprise for a lot of people who observe behaviour of populations and of people was when Princess Diana died, because there was this huge outpouring of display of emotion from British people, in public.
Yes.
When Diana died, and that was a big surprise to a lot of people, and it showed how the culture in our country had changed, because normally people were just sort of standing there and not showing any real emotions, but people were openly weeping and all sorts of things that we'd never really seen in British culture before. So that was a sort of a turning point then.
Yes,
I think. But anyway, that we're straying into all sorts of things there, and there must be sort of, I don't know what there's a science that studies people and their behaviours, sort of behavioural
sociology.
Sociology, behavioural science, and we've got to be careful that we don't say something that...
You're starting to sound like Jordan Peterson.
Am I? Oh, right, okay. Lots of comments on the live stream, Mr. Duncan. People are... Claret. Yes, Palmyra, claret. How would that be? Claret. It's C-L-A-R-E-T. I believe that's spelled. If you look up... Yes, claret. I think it's C-L-A-R-E-T, isn't it?
Yes, I think it is. It's a type of wine, very red, hence the colour.
Very deep red.
The colour of Mr. Steve's shirt, you see.
You could say wine or claret. Obviously red wine, not white wine. Claret with an E-T, not O-T on the end.
I think it is E-T at the end of claret. Yes. I could do with a glass of wine now, to be honest. I can't begin to tell you how disastrous, what a disaster the start of today's live stream was. It was unbelievable. I can't believe I was looking at yesterday's live stream for almost 10 minutes before I realised that I wasn't watching the live stream that I was doing at that moment. How strange. But then everyone is doing it at the moment, aren't they, Steve? Everyone is doing it.
What's that? I tuned out then.
This is good.
What's everybody doing?
Well, everyone is having their own live stream shows.
Yes.
They're all doing it. Everyone is now in front of their bookcase, or in Mr. Steve's case, he is in front of his DVDs.
Not quite so highbrow.
So, yes. So Steve has DVDs, and I have books behind me.
Books are giving an indication that you are more learned than I am, sitting behind the DVDs.
Look
or
at
in
me.
Front of the DVDs.
Look at me. I am educated.
Yes.
Because I have books behind me.
This is what people are doing now, aren't they? When they're being interviewed via Skype or Zoom on television now, they're always, if they're at home, they're positioning themselves in front of books to make themselves look more educated and learned. Of course, they probably haven't read any of them. And quite often, as we noticed last night, if somebody's written a book themselves, they position their book I can't. Which word in my hand? They position their book to the front so that everybody can see it.
Yes.
To try and sell their book.
That's it. But you can't blame them really for that, because it's a great way of promoting your own book. So if you're sitting in front of a bookcase, and you write books, it's very hard to resist having one of your own books just behind you with the cover facing outwards. I think so. I think it's very hard to resist. What is scarlet?
Scarlet, that's like the colour of blood.
Yes. So it is actually a description of a colour. It is a very rich red colour. So you might describe it as the colour of blood. It's also the first ever story concerning Sherlock Holmes, A Study in Scarlet. Ooh, Mr. Duncan.
Yes, scarlet is often used to describe the colour, like a vivid, sort of deep red colour. The colour of blood.
Apparently, Unicarina says, I enjoyed your perfect example of a poser. Thank you very much. Yes, a person who likes to sort of, look at me. Can you see me? I'm on my web camera and I'm sitting in front of lots and lots of books because it makes me look very erudite and intelligent. That sort of thing.
Saturino says, the colour of my polo shirt is like lumped blood.
Ew.
Or we would say clotted. Clotted blood, yes, because when blood clots, it goes like a very deep sort of colour, this sort of colour. So what I'm interested in, Saturino, is how come you know the colour of clotted blood? No. Have you seen much?
Maybe she worked in an abattoir.
Yes, but it does go very dark. But she's thinking perhaps on your skin if you get a cut or a scar.
A person who is reserved, by the way, is a person who doesn't show their emotions, or they tend to wear a mask, not literally. So they haven't actually got a mask over their face, but they put on a certain personality. So they are very reserved. They don't give too much away. They behave in a very controlled manner. So that is the perception that a lot of people have about the British or the English. So I suppose I'm unusual, to be honest, because I'm a little bit extrovert. And Steve, I think Steve is also very similar as well. Steve, you have your moments of being very extrovert, but then you have your moments of being the opposite.
I think normally you would describe me as fairly reserved in normal behaviour, measured. But of course, on these live streams, I can often lose it and get very emotional.
Yes.
But not today. I'm feeling very calm and reserved today. And of course, because I've done lots of things on the stage, I'm used to performing, and so I can rise to the occasion when necessary.
And apologies once again to those wearing headphones or earbuds.
If people wonder why I'm looking down all the time, it's because Mr. Duncan has positioned a phone, which I can look at the live stream. I don't like it, Mr. Duncan. I like to be able to keep my eyes into the camera.
Okay. Well, next time maybe we will just have it hanging at the front of your face. You know, like I will design a special hat where the phone is always hanging right in front of you, and then you can see it all the time.
Perhaps we could invest in some of those glasses, modern glasses, where we can project and people can't see it. Project things onto the inside of the glasses, and I can read the live stream.
You mean like Google Glass?
Is that what it is?
Well, it was, but they scrapped it.
Oh, right. So maybe not then.
It never. If you remember, it never came to fruition. It was advertised, but then suddenly at the last moment, people said, no, we don't want that. We don't want glasses that look like something from Minority Report or some sort of science fiction film. So, no, Google Glass never came to be, unfortunately.
Well, look at that. Where has it gone? Somebody just said, yes, Mercedes. What a lovely name. That's a girl's name, isn't it, Mercedes?
Also your car.
Yeah. Mr. C, the other day I bought a Tilly hat.
Oh.
Just like yours.
Really?
Yes. Well, Mercedes, we'd like to see a picture of you wearing that hat. And if you send that to Mr. Duncan at...
Mr. Duncan at ymail.com. Oh, actually, you can send it to this address. I will put it now on the screen. So here it is. Here is the address for emails and also where you can watch me on Facebook. And if you want to make a donation, you can as well. Here we are, we're still here, don't worry, we haven't gone away. So if you want to send a picture of you in your Tilly hat... I didn't want to press... I didn't mean to press that one. I pressed the wrong button, you see. What I meant to press was the other one that just goes...
I saw it, I did see it.
See, I pressed the wrong button.
Mercedes, send us a picture of you wearing the... You've put Telly hat. I think you mean Tilly, T-I-L-L.
Tilly.
Tilly hat. I think that's what you mean. So please send us a photograph.
Yes.
And Mr. Duncan will show it. And Mr. Duncan can work his magic.
Yes.
And put us side by side. They are very good hats, don't you think? They're very well made. I mean... You know, we should be getting paid to promote them.
Yes.
But just like you should get paid to promote Jaffa cakes.
That's it. Talking of food,
yes,
Steve. Talking of food, as I mentioned earlier, we never got to show them, so we're going to do it now. Mr. Steve was secretly in the kitchen yesterday making something, and I'm going to sample a little bit of Steve's food, which is always a risk because the other day, you remember the flapjack? Remember the flapjack
yes.
in the garden? I tried some and then I started choking to death.
Have you got some water ready
no,
just in case?
I haven't got any water here.
So you haven't even got water?
No, I'm so disorganised today. I don't know what's going on. I think I might be having some sort of breakdown.
Oh, so here we are.
Don't stick your nose in it.
These are my homemade sort of cake. I'm going to call it a cake.
Okay.
But they're a bit like, let me get one out.
They remind me of Rocky Road.
They're a bit like Rocky Road. So it's biscuits chopped up.
Mm.
You mash up you get these, they're like rich tea biscuits.
Or any biscuit.
Plain biscuits, rich tea are best. Mash them up a bit, and then you mix into a saucepan dark chocolate, 2 bars of dark chocolate with some treacle, golden syrup rather, or treacle, and butter. You melt that all into the saucepan, and then you pour in the crushed up biscuits, mix it all up, gets very stiff. And then you put it into a flat baking tin and press it down very hard. Put it in the oven, and then the oven. Put it in the fridge for it to set.
This is going
and
well.
Then you cut it up into these lovely. So it's dark chocolate and biscuit. Oh, my saliva glands are. You know, when you're about to eat something, your saliva glands start to. My mouth is watering. I've got to eat this, Mr. Duncan. Oh, dark chocolate, Mr. Duncan. There's a lot of people watching, as we well know from our Easter lesson a couple of weeks ago, who love dark chocolate. Just eat it, Mr. Duncan. He's annoying me now. A lot of people like dark chocolate. If you want the recipe for this, let me know. I can reach up to the bookcase above me where I know that the recipe is there and I can tell you exactly how to make it. It's very quick. It's very easy. Oh, and very delicious. And very fattening. Say something, Mr. Duncan.
This is very nice.
Oh, I forgot to say the other ingredient, which is raisins. But that's optional. So if you don't like raisins, you don't have to put raisins in. You can also put a small amount of alcohol, like rum or brandy. You could put a teaspoon or of that in to give it a bit of an extra flavour if you like the flavour of rum. I would have loved to have put rum in there, but we haven't got any rum. And Mr. Duncan doesn't like that. So yes, if you want the recipe, let me know. And I can read it out to you if Mr. Duncan would let me. But believe me, it's very, very easy to do. I love it, says Anna. The first cake I've ever made. It's very easy to make. And they want, well, one person says they want the recipe. This is an English lesson or what? Says FC. Well, this is an English lesson, but it can change into all sorts of things depending on what we decide we want to do at any given moment. So what do you think, Mr. Duncan? Shall I read out the recipe?
Do you have it written down on a piece of paper?
It's just above my head.
Well, get it.
Right.
Let's have a look. I will sit in your seat if you want.
Oh, why? I want to sit here.
I know we're supposed to be social distancing, but there you go.
Well, no, we're not really, are we? Well, only one person said that they look. I've messed that up already, Mr. Duncan.
Why do I look much better on this camera? I look actually more sexy.
Oh, what have I done, Mr. Duncan? It's all gone wrong again.
I look more sexy on this camera. Why?
In your dreams, Mr. Duncan.
There you go.
In your dreams.
Okay. Concentrate on what you're doing.
Please give us the recipe. 2 people have said so I'm going to give the recipe.
You could just hold it up.
No, I'm going to read it out.
Oh,
I could hold it up.
You don't have to read, please.
All right, then. There's the recipe.
Okay. That's it. Just keep it still. That's it. Let me just get a bit closer.
Okay.
Let go. Let go. That's it, you see.
If you can see on the right-hand side, chocolate biscuit cake, that's what it's called. Now, the recipe that it says there makes a lot. So if you can see on the right-hand side, I've written some notes there. So if you want to make half of it, which I would recommend that you do, because otherwise it's going to it costs you a lot of money in buying the ingredients and you make far too much of it. So this is what you saw in this container is just half the recipe. But there you go. That's it. I think we've shown that for long enough, haven't we, Mr. Duncan?
You can take a screenshot. There you go. So take a screenshot, or maybe you can write everything down very fast.
That'll do.
Maybe you can memorise all of this and keep it in your brain. So there we go. And it's gone.
So it's very easy to make, but it's also very, very fattening. Because you've got chocolate, which is fattening anyway, and then you add golden syrup, biscuits, and margarine or butter. It says add butter, but of course you can add in everything. It's just a throw it together recipe. It's a bit like it's easier to make even than flapjacks.
Do you think some people might put illegal things in this?
Well, they could do. Well, you can put illegal things in all sorts of cakes. Can't you, Mr. Duncan? But I would say you can put alcohol. I would love to put some rum in there. I think that would be nice. So we're all at home at the moment with possibly not much to do. So why not make yourself a nice treat? So yes, this is an English lesson. It's not a cookery channel. Otherwise, I'd be making it live. What have you been talking about today, Mr. Duncan? Have you had a theme to today's lesson? Mr. Duncan, are you there? Mr. Duncan? I can't hear you.
Look at the monitor.
I can see you, but I can't hear you. A waste of chocolate, says Sergio. But I'm eating it. Why is it a waste of chocolate? I'm still eating the chocolate. 2 big bars of chocolate it took to make that. Mr. Duncan, all he's doing is stuffing his face with cake. People are saying they want to do that recipe. Yes, easy to make, not rocket science, says Konstantin Mikhailov. That is correct. And, you know, if something's quick and easy to do, why not? The neighbours next to us, has been very kind. She's been baking cakes for us. And some of them have been very complicated cakes. So she's been baking hot crust buns, which is something that takes a while to make because you have to add yeast in there and wait for them to rise, like making bread. Then you have to put these crosses on there. So that takes a lot of time and effort to make those. See, if I took these biscuits to my neighbour, she would know that I'd spent very little time making them and that she'd spent a lot of time making her cake, so it would make her look better than me. So I'm not going to take any over. They're all for us, Mr. Duncan, all for us.
So these are not going anywhere. Don't give these away because they're delicious.
What is the difference, says somebody, between cookies and biscuits?
It's not necessarily the difference. It is actually the place where those words are used. So a cookie is basically a biscuit. So it's the same thing, except for we use cookie in American English. So in the United States, people will often say cookie. Here, we will say biscuit. So there are quite often words that are not the same or different from British English or different from American English. There are some words that are used differently. A good example, of course, being trousers and pants. So that's a good one, I suppose. You can get really confused if someone asks you to take off your pants. Let me see your pants, Mr. Duncan. Ooh. Because in English, in British English, pants is your underwear.
Yeah, so you could make this recipe in 10 minutes. And you could be eating it within... Well, you don't cook it as such. It sets in the fridge.
Yes, it goes hard.
It goes hard in the fridge. The problem is, do watch out, because whatever container you put it in, by the time it's set, it's virtually impossible to get it out.
Yes.
And so it cuts up very easily with a knife, but it's very hard to get it out of the container once you've done it. So,
what you're saying is it goes stiff very quickly.
In Greece, we call this log, says Theo, and we make it exactly as you. We put it in freezing for 4 hours at least before we cut it. Yeah. So you could put it in the freezer. But chocolate, of course, tastes nicer, I think, at room temperature. So when you want to eat it, get some of them out and let them go to room temperature first.
I don't like eating cold chocolate.
No, I don't. You can't. It takes too long to melt in your mouth.
Yes, and you lose the flavour.
Are you brothers, says Ivan. No, we're not.
Thank goodness.
But because we've known each other for a long time, we've ended up looking the same. Yes, chocolate biscuit cake.
We are some strange experiment that a mad scientist did in his laboratory late one night when he had nothing to do.
Tatiana says we roll it into a sausage shape and slice it. That's a good idea. Yes, that's a good idea. You can roll it into a sausage shape and then you can cut it up. That would be lovely. Salted ice cream. Oh, Sergio, I do like salted ice cream. Yes, that's delicious. And salted ice creams have become very popular in this country. Salted caramel. Salted caramel has become very popular. Yum, yum. Imagine that with those biscuits.
That was so genuine, your yum yum then. You went yum yum.
Yum yum.
That's better.
Is that better?
Come on, project.
Well, I've been out in the garden. I'm tired. I'm exhausted, Mr. Duncan. But I've still got time to come on this live stream with you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Steve, for donating some of your precious time. Even though at the moment it looks as if we're going to be in lockdown, maybe for the next 3 weeks, maybe for the next 3 months, perhaps for the next 3 years. We might be doing this forever, Steve. Imagine that.
Well, you know, don't get me started on the government's response or what I think of it to this particular crisis.
Okay, Steve.
Because you won't get me stopping.
I will have to jump in there and I will have to hold you down, pin you to the floor, and I will have to overpower you.
Yes, let's just say some governments around the world seem to have had a much better response to this crisis than others. And I do not include ours as being a successful response to it.
Okay, Steve. let's just not talk about any of that any longer.
Let's go back to talking about chocolate cake.
Just food. I mean, can I just say, I haven't eaten anything today, so I am feeling hungry. I did the same thing yesterday as well. I didn't eat anything yesterday either.
Well, Mr. Duncan, I was up and about early, and you were, let's just say, watching rubbish on the internet for, I would say, 2 hours this morning. I know that's part of your process because you want to allow ideas to filter in to your brain so that you can then use that for your live stream. But let's just say you could have been better prepared had you.
Well, I was prepared. I was just feeling tired. I was feeling drowsy and tired in bed, and I was sitting watching some funny things on the internet to cheer me up. Because let's face it, I'm in lockdown with you. I mean,
I'm going to put the lid on these, Mr. Duncan.
Yes, I wish you would put the lid on it.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I thought there's a chance to use a word. Put a lid on it. So if you put a lid on something,
that's actually a sentence.
If you put a lid on something, there we go. I'm putting the lid on this container.
Oh yes, you do realise that is so noisy.
But you can use that expression to, if you say that to somebody, put a lid on it, it means you want them to stop talking, to shut up, because they've annoyed you or they're boring you.
Can I say hello to some people?
Go on.
Can I say hello to Ivan? Hello, Ivan. Hello, Alisa. Hello, Unicarina again. Hello also, Helena. Hello also to Anna. Hello to Palmyra. Palmyra is here. Nice to see you here as well. Hello, Tatiana, who mentions the sausage cake. Yes, I suppose you could roll the ingredients into a sausage. Yes, that's a good idea, Steve.
I've already read that out, Mr. Duncan.
Yes, I know, but I'm just saying that's a good idea. I like that. Maybe you could try that next time, Mr. Steve. Maybe you could produce a big, giant sausage. It'll be the first time you've ever done it, of course, but it'll be interesting to see.
Francesca says, I've never had a cake. Liar.
You've never had a cake? Are we really supposed to believe that?
You really expect us to believe you've never had a cake?
You must think I was born yesterday.
Yes, if you say to somebody, you must think I was born yesterday, that means that you're saying that... go on, Mr. Duncan, describe it.
Oh, okay.
You're the teacher.
No, you were doing really well there.
I thought I was doing really well, yes.
No, do it. No, carry on. It's a good start to that sentence.
If you say to somebody, do you think I was born yesterday? You're trying to make them understand that you're you're not naive. You're not young. You've had experience in life.
That's it. Well, you're saying you don't really think I'm an idiot, do you?
Yes, exactly. I can tell that what you're talking about is utter rubbish.
I wasn't born yesterday.
I wasn't born yesterday, because if you were born yesterday, obviously, you wouldn't understand a lot of things.
I do like the way you introduced that and then sort of stopped halfway.
I sort of lost my train of thought.
Mr. Duncan, can you take over? My brain has switched off.
We've been invited to France by Corey V, or is that Corey 5? South of France. We'd love to go to the south of France.
Yes.
If you could charter a private jet for us,
yes,
then we will gladly go down there and eat your French pancakes.
I imagine myself sitting on a yacht, and it's just off the coast of Cannes. And I'm on this big yacht, and all of the celebrities are there. All of the big celebrities, like Tom Cruise, and also that guy from Star Trek. That guy, you know who I mean. Chris Pine. Chris Pine, and also that guy from Jurassic Park with the glasses. You know who I mean.
The tall chap.
So what you're saying is it's all science. It's all science. Him. You know
he's very tall and plays the piano as well.
He plays the piano badly. Have you ever heard Jeff Goldblum?
Yes. It's sort of
Jeff Goldblum cannot play the piano. He plays the piano in the worst way possible. He calls it jazz, but what I call it is just banging your fingers on the keyboard.
Well, he can play it a lot better than I can.
Okay. Anyway, back to my yacht. I'm on the yacht, and there are lots of famous people all there, all with their big shiny teeth and their perfect toupees, all of them sitting there around me. So we're off the coast of Cannes, and then later we're all going to have a beautiful meal with mashed potatoes. Apparently, one of the biggest French delicacies is mashed potatoes, as we found out last year when we were in Paris. I didn't realise that mashed potatoes was such a big part of French cuisine. I was quite
every
surprised.
Restaurant we went to served us mashed potatoes.
We went to one of the most expensive places in Paris. By the way, Steve's company was paying for it, not us. Before you start thinking that we are millionaires, we are not millionaires.
No, I won a trip, didn't I?
You won a trip. And we went to one of the nicest, poshest places. We went to one of these amazing places, and they gave us mashed potato.
Do you think it's because they knew we were British?
Don't know.
And they thought that they've got to serve us mashed potatoes?
Of course, they don't call it mashed potato, do they?
No, there was a name for it, wasn't there? A posh name for mashed potatoes.
Go on. Isn't that the night that you embarrassed yourself by asking the waiter in another... Because we were staying at, I think it was Brecon, and we were staying in this hotel. I can't remember what it was called now, what the name they gave. But you asked what it was, and he looked at you with such disdain, and he said, "That is mashed potatoes."
Well, sometimes restaurants will, in this country, if your dish that you're serving is really nothing special, but if you then use words from another language like French or Italian to describe your food, then it sounds more exotic. So I asked what was this? It was in French. And it turned out to be mashed potatoes, which is a very common thing to eat in the UK. But because they didn't want to put mashed potatoes on their menu here in the UK, in this restaurant we went to, they wrote it in French.
Yes.
To make it sound more exotic, but in fact it was just mashed potatoes. It's all gone wrong again. I keep pushing the wrong things on here, Mr. Duncan.
It's your great big giant banana fingers.
I don't know. It just it's gone wrong, Mr. Duncan. Doesn't matter. We're nearly finishing now anyway.
Are we?
Well, it's nearly 4:00.
No, it's a long way from 4:00, and I was 10 minutes late as well.
Well, I'm going at 4.
Okay.
Because I've got things to do, places to go,
Don't finish that off, please.
Is it the 19th again? There we go. I'll click on it. Oh, it's come back up again, Mr. Duncan. Oh, right. There we go. Purée de pomme de terre, says Lewis.
Something like that.
They call it something else here, but that obviously is right. Is there another word for it? Thank you for that, Lewis. Purée de pomme de terre. But they call it something else here.
Here's Mr. Steve's hand when he's controlling the computer. There we go. It's just like a load of bananas. Look, this is Mr. Steve's fingers on the computer. Look. So that's what it's like when Mr. Steve is using the computer or the keyboard. So those are Mr. Steve's fingers.
Well, it's strange you should say that because my sister and I, when we were young children, my father used to like playing the piano. He was okay at it. He wasn't brilliant, but he was good. He could play the piano. And we used to laugh because he had very fat fingers. And we used to make a joke with my father when he was playing the piano because he would often hit all the wrong notes. And we would say to him, we would go with a bunch of bananas over the keys like that and laugh and say that Dad was playing the piano with these banana fingers. And I've taken after my father.
You have?
With banana fingers.
So
it's funny, that's genetics.
Okay.
So we used to laugh, and he used to get very upset about it, and he used to shout at us. He didn't see it as amusing at all.
Is that when he used to lock you in your room without any supper?
Sergio says, we're lucky we didn't get French onion soup. Well, we did.
We did.
We did get onion soup.
Yes. We had onion soup on 2 occasions, however.
Mashed potato and onion soup.
Everywhere we went, we had mashed potatoes. And it was wonderful because before we arrived at this one restaurant, they were saying, okay, everyone, we're going to the most amazing restaurant. They serve some of the best food in Paris. And it's very, very nice. I wish Luis Mendez was here.
Luis is here.
Is he?
Yeah, so because Luis told us what mashed potato is in French, purée pomme de terre.
Yes, but it was something else, wasn't it?
They called it something else as well. So, yes, Luis, is it a popular dish? Popular thing to eat in France, mashed potato? Is it? Can you tell us? Or do they just serve it to English people?
So I don't think it
Please,
was
can
for
you tell
us.
us?
It was on the menu. What do you think they're printing menus, especially for English people?
Well, I don't know. Maybe.
I think it is. I think mashed potatoes. What they do is they mash the potatoes. They make them all creamy. Then they add lots of butter. So this is a particular type of mashed potato. But we had it on many occasions, didn't we? And we were being taken to these amazing places with chandeliers. And when you looked at the table, there was lots and lots of cutlery, knives, forks, fish knives, all sorts of things on the table. You can always tell when you go to a posh place, Steve, because there's lots of cutlery on the table. And I never know which end to start. So do I start from the outside or do I start from the inside? And I always pick up the wrong things. I always do because I'm common. I'm not.
Well, you weren't brought up in a posh, sophisticated way like what I was.
Yes, I'm not as classy as Mr. Steve.
Well, we use an expression before. Unicornia has put a comment there. The expression that we were just saying. Do you think I was born yesterday? Mm-hmm. In Spain, they use the expression, do you think I've just fallen from the cherry tree?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, so that's an equivalent phrase to what we were saying. So thank you very much for that, Unicornia. It's always nice to know what expressions people use in their own countries. We're invited to Catalonia in Spain.
Another invite.
I know. So that's well. I'll tell you what. We'll wait for the helicopter to arrive.
Okay.
Should only take about 45 minutes from the south of France to here, probably less. And then we will go and visit, I can't remember who it was now, for the pancakes.
Okay.
And then after that, we will then go to Catalonia to have some lovely Catalonian cuisine.
Yeah, I don't mind.
So we should be able to, I think we can get to France by about 6:30.
Yes.
And then we'll stay there for an hour. We'll have some pancakes. And then we'll be 9 o'clock or an hour later, we'll be in Catalonia. And then we'll be back home for midnight, Mr. Duncan.
Yeah.
And we'll have had a nice tour, illegal tour.
Okay.
Well, here's an interesting story, Mr.
Is it?
Duncan.
Okay, sorry. I'm trying to keep up with your stories. You keep interrupting yourself. It's a very strange thing to hear. No, when I was going to say,
I read on the internet.
Steve, we
Yes.
can't do it though, can we? Because I think people would notice a helicopter landing outside a restaurant or outside someone's house. I think they would notice the helicopter.
This happened. You see, some rich people from the UK,
Okay.
wealthy people from the UK. I read this
that's
story
it.
last week.
Rich, wealthy.
Decided that they wanted to go to a luxury villa in the south of France somewhere. So they hired themselves a private jet, which took them to an airport somewhere in France where helicopters were waiting to take them to their private villa somewhere in the south of France. And quite rightly, when they landed in this airport, the French police were there and told them to go back home in their plane and sent them back to the UK. Because how outrageous for rich, wealthy people to think that the rules don't apply to them when it comes to this pandemic. And no, we're just going to go off to our villa in the south of France and we're going to take 15 people with us. So quite rightly, the French police or the French authorities told them to get back on their jet and fly back to the UK. So well done. Well done to the French authorities. I thought that made me laugh, that did, because they were rich, wealthy people thinking that the rules didn't apply to them. They could do what they liked, but they were sent back, and no doubt feeling very embarrassed.
You seem unusually pleased by that story.
Yes, because just because people have money doesn't mean that the rules don't apply to them.
Okay.
Of course, the rules generally don't apply to them.
And you want
that's the whole allure of becoming wealthy, that you can do what you like and rules of society don't apply to you.
Well, yes, yes, that is the reason. That is, Steve. Yes, You seem to think that that's a bad thing, but
that's the perception. Of course, often it goes to people's heads, and we know when you say something goes to your head, it means that you become so immune from the realities of life that you believe that if you've got lots of money or you've got stardom, you can do whatever you like, and there's no consequence to it.
But you
can get away with it.
But the thing is, Steve, you can.
But not always.
Most of the time.
What happened to Harvey Weinstein? He thought he could get away with it.
Okay.
And he's now in prison.
That's an interesting change of subject.
Well, that's it. You see, rich, powerful people often think that they can do anything and get away with it. But sooner or later, the law will catch up with them.
That's it. Even though most wealthy and famous people do just do what they want and get away with it.
A lot of them do.
Yeah. But we wouldn't be able... See, this is the reason why we wouldn't be able to go on our little helicopter trip. So we could have taken that private helicopter. We could have gone to see the south of France, and also, where else was it, Steve?
Catalonia.
We could have gone to both of those places. They're not very far away from each other, and we could have had a little helicopter ride. However, we can't because we would be stopped. So your story has just completely undone all of our plans. It's not fair, really.
I thought the rules didn't apply to YouTube English teachers. I thought you could do whatever you liked.
No. Trust me, it doesn't apply to English teachers.
Palmyra says that Branson, I presume you mean Richard Branson, once landed in Lithuania and scared a cow.
Okay.
But he was very grateful and looks like it gave something to the owner as compensation. I think that's what you mean by that.
When you say landed, he wasn't a plane at the time, wasn't he?
He was. I presume he didn't just fall. Helicopter.
He didn't just fall from the sky.
Well, Adrian Florman says that we can come to the Riviera, and he's invited us to lunch with his parents and himself.
Okay.
We'd love to go. Obviously, you'd need to pay for the flights for us. You know, I mean, we would expect that.
Yes. Well, the flights.
After all, these lessons are free.
The flights, the accommodation. Well, just basically everything, really. You'll have our company. That's compensation enough. And we'll teach you whatever English lessons or English words you'd like. Maybe throw in a few idioms as well. Yes.
Of course, we can't go at the moment for obvious reasons, but we'd love to go,
no,
Adrian.
We can't go at the moment because of... You do it, Steve. You do it. Don't say it, but just mouth it. So we'll do it after 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I can't believe we're having so much fun during this time. It seems almost wrong.
To Julia, Adele says that I look like James Bond.
More like Judi Dench.
Oh, thanks a lot. See, that's made Mr. Duncan laugh.
It has. I did laugh.
There's a pregnant pause, Mr. Duncan. Mr. Duncan is sneezing. And I'm not surprised because the pollen count in the UK is rising fast. And I know because... bless you, Mr. Duncan. Bless you. He needs all the help he can get. The pollen count is rising here with all the farms planting their various plants and crops. And pollen is cascading down upon us.
Okay. They're planting their plants, are they?
Cascading down upon us.
Is that what they call it,
so
Steve?
Raining down, the pollen's being blown. And even I am getting I've been getting a runny nose. In fact, last night I thought, blimey, what have I got coming?
No, don't say.
I won't say it. Don't worry, Mr. Duncan, I won't say it. But you know, at the moment, if you get a bit of a sniffle or a slightly sore throat, you think that you've got this virus, don't you? Because it's making us all feel a little, oh, have I got that? Have I got that?
Yes, okay,
but
Steve.
in fact, I think I'm getting a bit of hay fever.
That's it. So can we go back to the farmers with their plants?
Crops is the word I was searching for.
The farmers are looking after their plants. I love that.
Mr. Duncan says Husna 2020. This is episode 63, but you put 62. Well, Mr. Duncan, as he explained earlier, was having a bit of a mental breakdown earlier.
I don't know. I really don't know what happened today. Something strange happened to my brain because when I came into the studio, I suddenly realised that I was quite late and also that I hadn't prepared.
He hadn't prepared, so he put 62 instead of 63.
Well, no, it's worse than that. It was actually yesterday's thumbnail. So it was the thumbnail that's advertising yesterday's live stream, and that might be the reason why I got confused as well. So everyone was getting confused because I was a little bit behind time today.
Well,
so
Mr.
I didn't
Duncan,
even.
I've told you on repeated occasions. Listen to me, Mr. Duncan. So you haven't had anything to eat today, have you? Nothing. All you've had is a cup of tea.
Well, I've now had 2 pieces of your delicious chocolate cake.
Well, considering that you have been up and about for 7 hours, 8 hours probably, you have had nothing to eat. So is it not surprising that your mind is not working properly and that you're not being able to concentrate properly on what you're doing? You've got to eat breakfast. Yes. Mr. Duncan just doesn't eat. Mr. Duncan doesn't eat unless he feels hungry.
Yes.
Whereas, most people will eat regular meals throughout the day, which keeps your blood sugar going. So your blood sugar's dropped because you haven't eaten properly, and then you're rushing around, and it's stressful, and that's why you've been making these mistakes. But people, you will forgive Mr. Duncan this one transgression.
I don't know. I have no idea what was happening earlier. Oh, hello to Hong Ping Jiang, who says, "Hi, Mr. Duncan. Do you remember me? I am from Beijing." Hello to Beijing. A big ni hao to Beijing. Hello to you as well. Irene says, yes, and also other towns around are you from? I don't know what that is. I started reading that and I have no idea what context that is actually in. Unfortunately, there are things we can't talk about. We can't say the word unfortunately, so we are not allowed to say that, just in case YouTube comes along and they cut my cable.
You've got to get me a better way of looking at the live comments, Mr. Duncan, because it keeps doing weird things.
Okay.
Anyway, it's 4 o'clock, Mr. Duncan. I've got things to do.
No, it's not 4 o'clock. It's 4:05.
I know.
And
I've stayed an extra 5 minutes.
Well, unfortunately, we have another 5 minutes, you see, because we have to serve our purpose. If we're not here for 2 hours, everyone gets angry and they all come round and start banging on the door. Hello. On the contrary, the other thing does not cause a runny nose. So the thing that is happening, Steve, does not cause a runny nose.
No.
Fortunately. But there are some weird side effects, such as losing your sense of smell and taste.
Well, yes, that I think at least 50% of people, I don't know for certain, but
Okay.
a certain percentage of people, let's just say an undisclosed and unknown percentage of people lose their sense of taste and smell.
Okay, that's it.
I don't think it's everyone.
That's all I'm saying.
But yes, Sergio, you're right. I don't think you don't get the typical cold symptoms of runny nose.
No.
But the thing is, when you get any symptoms at the moment of anything, you think you've got it.
Yes, that's it.
And in fact, I was so convinced last night that I was coming down with something. If we say you are coming down with something, that means you're about to feel ill from an infection.
So you are slowly beginning to feel unwell. You feel as if you are coming down with something.
I don't feel very well. I think I'm coming down with something. So you feel unwell. So you could be in the early stages of an infection. So last night I said to Mr. Duncan, I think I'm coming down with something. Meaning, because we're all a bit paranoid at the moment. So
you are normally.
My throat was a little scratchy, but of course I'd been singing earlier, so I've probably overdone that.
Yes.
And my nose was running, even though that's not a symptom. You still think, well, maybe I've got something. Turned out, so I was swallowing vitamin C pills and all sorts of things to try and combat anything that I might have. Of course, it wasn't anything.
No,
it was
of course
just
not.
a bit of hay fever.
Well, it's because you're completely paranoid and you're a complete hypochondriac. That's why. Would you say so?
Helen, sorry, yes, I agree with you there. Whatever you said, I agree with it.
Oh.
Helen says, Palmyra must have made a comment earlier about cutting hair. Because, of course, at the moment, you can't go to the hairdressers, which probably isn't a problem for most men. But for a lot of women, I'm being sexist here, who like to look beautiful, and we all appreciate that time that you take to make yourselves look beautiful by going to the hairdressers. And Palmyra says, you are lucky. I cut my husband's hair, but it is not possible for him to cut mine. It would be a disaster.
It would.
Well, of course, cutting men's hair is not really difficult because there's, you just sort of hack about at it. Doesn't really matter very much unless you're particularly style conscious. And of course, it won't matter with me. I just run a razor over very quickly. It takes me 5 minutes.
You just get next door's cat to lick it off.
Well, my sister and my mother are both saying the same thing. Who's going to cut my hair? And it's quite... To cut a woman's hair into a style, or even a man's hair into a style, if you want a style, then it takes a bit of skill.
Yes.
So you need a hairdresser to do that.
I would say that's very true, Steve, because that's why they have those places where you go to, and then there's always a couple of young girls, and there's always a guy that looks like what can I say? How can I describe that? Well, anyway, a very effervescent assistant, shall we say?
Yes.
Your mother loves going to the hairdressers. I've just remembered. How is your mother managing during these times? Are you going to go to your mother's house and cut her hair?
Valentina says, big problem, our hair. This is the very issue. Yes, well, my mother, of course, is very upset. My mother every week goes to have her hair done every Saturday, like a lot of women do, go every week or every 2 weeks to have their hair cut, to have it styled, because it makes them feel, everybody likes to feel attractive. And if your hair has not been attended to, then of course it's too late for you and me. Then it just makes you feel better. So it's part of the routine of life for a lot of people too. I'm not just going to say women, because a lot of men like to have their hair styled if they've got it, unlike us. So it is upsetting for my mother not to have her hair done, styled, bit of mousse put in there, make it look a bit more fulsome. Yes, it's very difficult. It must be a big problem. I mean, if you're used to having your hair dyed, if you've got grey hair, I mean, I noticed the other night, I've noticed people on television now, if they're on these live streams and they bend forward, all the grey roots are coming through.
What live streams are you watching where people bend forward?
I meant reporters and such. They're going to people's, everyone is Zooming now, aren't they? Or doing Skype. They're going to people's houses where they're self-isolating, or
they're all sitting in front of their They're all sitting in front of their bookcases, looking very suave.
Yes, but I've noticed a few people leaning forward because they haven't got the camera angle quite right.
Okay,
and it's revealing a lot of grey roots. It's going to be utter horror when this all ends.
Yes.
How many people are going to wear hats, but while they go to the hairdressers, they won't want people to see them with their grey roots and their long straggly hair. It's going to be very embarrassing.
We will all look like we've time travelled from the 1960s.
Well, Mr. Duncan.
Well,
it's time for me to go.
Well, okay.
Because I'm going to go round to my neighbour. I'm going to do my good neighbourly. We've got elderly neighbours living all around us, and I promised I would cut her bushes and trim her bushes.
Talking of cutting hair,
and her hedges, and. She said, will you please come round? Because she can't get a gardener. You see, she's about 70 years old. And she can't get a gardener at the moment because, of course, self-isolating, we're not allowed to have even gardeners come round. So because I like doing gardening, I have offered to cut some of her bushes for her. And I cut her grass the other week, so I'm going to go back now. And her dog's lovely. I'm going to stay a safe distance from her, of course. But I'm going to do... This is part of my neighbourly duty.
Okay, Steve, all right. We've got it. You could have just said, I'm going round to the neighbours. But no.
I'm virtue signalling, Mr. Duncan. I'm virtue signalling.
Yes.
I'm saying, look at me, how wonderful I am, helping out my elderly neighbours. Aren't I a wonderful, good, wonderful person?
Yeah, okay. Good luck with that. So, what are you staying a safe distance from, the dog or the neighbour?
Well, to be quite honest, I like to stay my distance from her anyway, in the best of times. I'm only joking.
The neighbour or the dog?
She's got a lovely, beautiful Alsatian. Not Alsatian. What is the dog that she has, Mr. Duncan?
Go on.
It is a Labrador.
Yes, it's not a Chihuahua.
It's
bigger than a Chihuahua.
Labrador.
It's bigger than a Chihuahua, and it's
smaller.
smaller.
In love with me.
It's smaller than.
It's a Labrador.
bear.
I've already said that, Mr. Duncan.
Okay.
It's
Labrador.
a bitch Labrador.
Sorry.
A female.
Who's a bitch?
A female Labrador.
Who?
We call them bitches.
Did you just call your neighbour a bitch?
No, the dog.
Oh,
the dog. Let's be clear here. Although that term is often used in a derogatory way towards women.
Okay.
Yes, so it's a beautiful lady dog. Let's put it this way.
Lady dog.
A lady dog.
You sound like you're describing a Disney film.
And Labradors have got beautiful faces, and it's totally in love with me. It's nothing to do with the fact that I take it lots of biscuits at all. But then, everyone's in love with me. I have many suitors, Mr. Duncan, and just that Labrador dog is just one of them.
Sorry, you have people that are after you romantically, including dogs.
Oh, many. I've always got people who are writing me love letters, Mr. Duncan, and emails declaring their love and affection for me, wanting to settle down and have relations, but I just throw them all off.
I literally don't know how to respond to that.
I'm only joking, Mr. Duncan.
Okay.
I'm only joking.
So Mr. Steve is now going to see his neighbour. He is going to stroke the furry, drooling animal. And then also he might say hello to the dog as well.
Yes, I'll only be about an hour. So shall I do that first, or shall we have we'll have the hot cross buns first?
Okay.
Definitely, because otherwise it'll be too late before we have our evening meal.
Okay.
Again, I'm cooking again tonight, Mr. Duncan,
Well,
just for you.
I've got some words to show anyway.
What? Why have you waited this long to show some words?
Well, because of you. It's all your fault.
Well, don't go just yet, because Mr. Duncan is going to show you some words.
Okay.
I
know
so
one of
I'm
them.
going to go.
I know
well, how
there is
long are
one-
you going to be?
How long am I going to be? Well,
Yes.
you go round to the neighbours first.
Well, but I want to have my hot cross bun because it's it's 4:15.
You're like a spoilt, petulant child.
But I don't want to eat it too close to the main meal tonight.
But I want to have my hot cross bun.
Well, I will do that then if you're staying on for later. So viewers, stay with Mr. Duncan.
Yes.
How long are you going to be? What are you going to commit to?
Trust me,
time-wise?
this is going to improve in a moment. This will all get better. Trust me.
Or to make up for the things that went wrong earlier, you mean?
Oh,
I've livened up now, but I'll go while I'm on a high.
yes, please. If that's what you're like when you're not high or happy, then I don't really know if I'm ready to see you high and happy, to be honest.
What is the name of the dog, says FC? Jemima. The dog is called Jemima.
That is.
And it's a beautiful dog. It's
calls
a very
that?
old dog. It's 14 years old.
Who calls their dog Jemima?
And it can barely walk.
Have you ever met someone who's called their dog a sort of typical name for a person, like Roger or Philip?
No, you always give dogs the names that you would not normally give to people.
Or Jennifer. You could
Well, it's
call
like
your dog.
Fido. You'd never call a human Fido, would you?
Well, I don't know. I think it's happened.
Ong wants me to say hello to the dog. I will. And there was one other question I was going to answer, but what am I going to plant in the garden? Well, Mr. Duncan will reveal that. But I'm going to plant a photinia in the corner. I've decided. I've been racking my brains.
Yes.
Racking my brains. That means you're thinking and thinking, trying to come up with ideas, solutions. What can I plant in the corner of the garden at the back? And I've got several plants that I've bought over the years that I've never that are in pots that I've never put into the garden. I'm thinking, what can I put in there? It's got to be fast growing to cover up the horrible fence and the posts. So I'm going to put in this variegated Photinia. So you can look that up and Mr. Duncan can show you, give you a picture. It grows fast, it'll fill the corner up. I've decided, that's it, Mr. Duncan. Goodbye to everybody and see you all this time next week, or maybe 2 hours earlier than this.
Okay. I don't understand that.
Well, if I said this time next week, it would be too late.
Yes. Although,
you know what I'm saying there, so
I would, to be I actually wouldn't blame anyone for joining at this point when you're leaving. You see.
Well, it's nice to be with you all today.
Okay.
And with you, Mr. Duncan, although I'll see you later. So you want me to go around now and do that?
Okay.
You're going to show some words, and I'll come back for the hot crust bun later.
Okay, then.
Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
That's the plan.
Let's just do that.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
See you later, Steve. And that is Mr. Steve, and he is the person who sometimes comes on to annoy us all. Steve's still talking. He's talking. He doesn't realise we've actually gone off. I will be going in a few minutes, but I'm going to stay with you a little bit longer because we were longer than we expected with Mr. Steve. We were much longer. However, you know what it's like. Mr. Steve likes talking. He does. Sometimes he can't stop himself. Hello to everyone on the live chat. Nice to see some of you are still here. Very nice to see you here today. Hello, Evangelina. Hello also, Ong Trum. Mr. Steve, I will pay for your flight tickets and you can do my garden for me. Oh, I think Mr. Steve might be very happy and excited by that. So, are you sometimes a lazy person? Mr. Steve earlier was accusing me of being lazy. Well, another word for lazy, something we can often use to describe a person who is quite lazy, is bone idle. A person who is lazy might be described as bone idle. A person who tends to do nothing. Maybe they are very lazy, maybe they don't want to work, maybe they always avoid doing any work. We describe them as bone idle. My neighbour never does anything in his garden. He is so bone idle. Maybe you have a son who doesn't want to go to work. He doesn't want to do any work. He always likes to sit in front of the television and eat snacks. Come to think of it, that sounds like me on a Saturday night. Bone idle is another word we can use. Here's an interesting word. You might not have heard of this word before. Languid. Ooh, languid. A person who is always relaxed, doing nothing. They are languid. They like to languish. You languish. You recline. You don't like to do anything. You like to spend your time doing very little. Maybe you can be lethargic. A person who has no energy, they have no enthusiasm, they don't want to do anything. They are lethargic. Lethargic. Homer Simpson. Yes, Homer Simpson is often lazy. Even though he does work, but he can be quite lazy. Someone who is lackluster. A person who has no energy. They don't want to do anything. They just want to sit or lie around doing nothing. A person who is slothful. Slothful. I like this one. Slothful. A person who is slothful is a person who might not be very active. A bit like the animal called a sloth. Slothful. So that person is very similar to a sloth. They don't like to do much work. Sluggish is another one. You feel as if you don't want to do anything. You have no energy. You just want to lie back. You just want to sit and do nothing. You feel very sluggish. I like that word. A person who is not very active is listless. They have no energy. They have no real motivation to do anything. They are listless. They are just doing nothing. Here's a good one. We use this in British English. A person who is a layabout. So in British English, we will often use this to describe a person who does not like working. They always try to avoid work. Maybe they are always sitting around watching the television. Layabout. A person who is a layabout. Oh, you're always sitting around doing nothing. You are just a big layabout. Layabout. I like that one. That's a good one. A person who avoids work might be described as a slacker. A person who avoids doing any work whatsoever might be described as a slacker. Slacker. A person who avoids doing any work. I want to eat some mashed potatoes. I really do. We were talking a lot earlier about mashed potatoes, and I keep thinking about mashed potatoes. I want to go back to France and try some of those delicious cream potatoes. They were gorgeous. A person who is a shirker is someone who avoids any responsibility. They try to avoid doing any work. They try to avoid doing anything that involves being active or doing any exercise. You always like to shirk your duty. Lazy bones. A person who is very lazy, a person who doesn't like doing anything, can be described as lazy bones. They are a lazy person. A person who often sits on their couch or their sofa can be described as a couch potato. A person who often sits around watching television, maybe they are always on the sofa watching television, enjoying their reality TV shows. They might be described as a couch potato. Slouch. A person who is a slouch is a person who likes to sit around doing nothing. They often waste their time. They are described as a slouch. A person who avoids work might be described as work shy. He doesn't like doing any work. I would describe him as work shy. He doesn't like doing any work whatsoever. He is work shy. A person who shows no interest in things might be described as apathetic. Apathetic. A person who has no interest, they don't want to get involved in anything, they are apathetic. And, one more. I like this one. A person who is lazy, maybe they waste their time, they waste their life. We describe them as a deadbeat. A person who is a deadbeat is a person who wastes their time. They often do nothing. They are often very lazy. Lazy people. That is almost it from me for today. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. A little bit longer because I did have some problems at the start of today's live stream. We will forget about that. Completely forget about that. Thank you very much for your company. Thank you very much for everyone. Thank you, Luis Mendez. Thank you, Francesca, Tias. Also, Evangelina, Palmyra, Sergio. Sergio says, I like those words. They are all taken from my description. So you are saying that those words are a good way of describing you, Sergio. I see. Well, that is very brave of you to admit it. I can't sleep when many people are studying, says Ivan. Okay. well, you can have a rest now. You can have a little rest. Relax yourself, because it's time for me to say goodbye. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. It's been interesting, I hope. Thank you very much to Mr. Steve as well for your input. I hope you've enjoyed it. A little bit later on, we are going to have a hot cross bun and also a nice cup of tea and maybe some more of Mr. Steve's delicious cake. You will be able to save a screenshot of the recipe for Mr. Steve's cake. Maybe you can try it as well. Try to make it. Thank you very much for your company. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much, John Freddy. Hello, Mr. Duncan. It's been very pleasing to catch you again. Jean Freddy. Thank you very much. You are welcome. Unicarina, Sergeia, Hiroko, Francesca, thank you very much for your company today. I've enjoyed it. And yes, guess what? I am back with you tomorrow. I'm back again tomorrow. 2 p.m. UK time tomorrow. So I'm back again. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Manuel. See you tomorrow, everyone. I hope you will have a good Sunday and also the rest of your weekend will go very, very nicely. And remember, don't forget, you are not alone during these times. Don't forget also, you can make the best of a bad deal. Try to see something good in these strange and difficult times. You can also look on the bright side of life. Look on the bright side. Keep cheerful. Find something nice to do. Something nice to distract you. Every cloud has a silver lining. It really does. And finally, don't forget, there is light at the end of the tunnel. In fact, a lot of people have been using this actual phrase this week on the news. So a lot of people being interviewed and talked to. They're being interviewed about the current situation. And many people are saying, we think there is light at the end of the tunnel. And that is it. Thank you very much. I am definitely going like Superman. I am going to fly off and change my underwear. Thank you for your company. 2 p.m. UK time tomorrow. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of English saying thanks a lot. Don't forget to give me a lovely like as well before you go. Please give me a like. There it is. Give me a like and also subscribe if you like what you see. Yeah. Yep. Thanks a lot for your company, everyone. Thank you, Annie. Thank you, Noemi. Thank you, TS. See you all later. And of course, before I disappear, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. Until tomorrow, 2 p.m. UK time, this is Mr. Duncan in England saying thanks for watching and ta-ta for now.